Hi, I'm Trisha Bear from the Culinary Command Post in Henrietta, Oklahoma. And today we're going to show you how to make Parmesan Crusted Chicken with the Parmesan cream sauce to go with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you some of the ingredients. So I'm going to actually marinate the chicken breasts. You don't have to, but I'm going to marinate them for about 15 minutes while I'm getting the seasoning that's going to go on the crust for the Parmesan chicken. So I'm using two different types of marinade. I'm using the garlic, wine, and herb. It's the Grill Mates marination mix. And I'm going to marinate the chicken breast for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get my marinade mixed up. I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of oil in each of them because I'm doing the garlic, herb, and wine, and then also the chipotle pepper. So I'm doing two different marinades. They both have a 1/4 cup of oil. And I just used olive oil and a 1/4 cup of water, except for this one right here, the garlic, herb, and wine. They do have white vinegar, 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. So that's what I'm going to add to this one. And then you just basically put in the pack, mix it up. And then we're going to actually pound out our chicken breasts to make them tender before I put them in the marinade. So that's our garlic, herb, and wine by Grill Mates. And this one's the chipotle pepper, and it's also a 15-minute marinade. And it's the same thing, 1/4 cup of water, 1/4 cup of oil, but it doesn't have the white vinegar in it. Put that in our bowl. Alright, then we're just going to mix around our marinade. Mix up our marinade for a minute. And I've already washed the chicken breasts in the sink with cold water. And we're just going to leave the chicken there in there for about 15 minutes while I mix up my crust mixture. Alright, and I do have the oven preheated at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I've lined 2 baking dishes depending on how many chicken breasts you want to cook. I made this recipe for about 10 pieces of chicken because I have different taste testers and I wanted to make sure they had enough chicken. Anyway, so I lined it with parchment paper, sprayed the pan before I put the parchment paper on so it holds it flat, and it's a lot easier to clean up. So I've got 2 pans here that I'm going to use because I do have 10 chicken breasts. And so that's what this recipe is for, is 10 chicken breasts. Okay, so now I'm going to pound the chicken before I actually put it in the marinade to make it tender. So you can use a meat mallet. I have this one right here that has different prongs on it. So when I push down, it's poking the meat, putting holes in the meat, and that's how I'm going to marinate it. So that way the marination can get inside of the chicken. It's going to have a lot of seasoning on the outside on the crust, but I like to have the chicken really seasoned and flavored. So that's why we're going to try to marinate it. Now we're going to marinate all of them, maybe except 2, because I want to see what the difference is without marinade with this recipe. So, okay, so I washed the chicken and put them on the cutting board. And when you're poking holes in the chicken or tenderizing the chicken, if you want to put some saran wrap on top so that way the juices of the chicken don't splatter everywhere. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me grab this saran wrap. Just I had up. Okay, so we're going to put saran wrap on the top of it before we actually pound it out. Alright, so now I'm going to use my meat tenderizer and just poke holes in it. And these are thick chicken breasts, so you want to do them, poke holes in all of them so they all cook the same. And I'm going to turn them over and do the other side too because they're thick. If they weren't thick, you can just do one side. But I'm going to do both sides. If you're in Henrietta, August 30th, they're having a car show. Vets for Pets is having a costume contest for pets. They do have to be on a leash. And I'm using this device that's got the prongs on it, and I'm tenderizing both sides before I put the chicken in the marinade because I want the inside of the chicken to get marinated as well. And because these are thick chicken breasts, I'm doing it on both sides. And if you can put saran wrap on top, that will help it not make the juices go everywhere, or do it really slow so they don't go everywhere. Either way, if you don't have any saran wrap, you can do it this way. That's what makes the chicken tender, is tenderizing it. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 5. We got 11 pieces, so I'm going to do 4 in this marinade, 4 in the other marinade, and then I'm going to do a couple with not marinade. I want to see the difference in not marinating them. And we only have to marinate it for 15 minutes. Just kind of swish the chicken around, make sure both sides is covered with that marinade. That's our herb and wine marinade, and then this one's our chipotle marinade. We're going to stick 2 in here. And then we're going to tenderize the other chicken. I also help veterans do their VA disability claim paperwork. So if you want to apply for any benefits, just give me a call and I'd love to help you get your benefits. The VA disability starts out at $171 a month and goes up to $4 grand a month if you're 100% VA disabled. And you don't have to be in a combat zone or have served in a combat zone to get those benefits. They help, that helps, but it's not the catch-all. You do not have to have that. Okay. Got my holes poked in, and now I'm going to put some of that chicken in the marinade, in the chipotle marinade, and I'll leave 2 pieces out that's not marinated. I just want to see what the difference is on the Parmesan Crusted Chicken. And while it's marinating, we're going to mix up our crust that we're going to put our chicken in when it gets done marinating. Now before we do put in our seasoning for our chicken, we are going to dry it with a paper towel to dry off whatever liquid is on it. So that way the seasoning or the crust holds better to the chicken. I did preheat my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. In order to test if the chicken's done, once we get it ready to go in the oven, it's got to be 165 degree Fahrenheit for chicken to get done. Okay. And it's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes for the chicken to cook. Okay, so here's our flour. And this is going to be the crust to the chicken. So we got 4 tablespoons of garlic seasoning. And this is 2 teaspoons of the onion powder. Or instead, I might chop that up a little. This is 1 teaspoon of salt. And this is 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. That ain't too much. We're going to go ahead and put the rest of this in there. Okay, so now we need to add our Parmesan cheese to it. Mix the Parmesan cheese up with the flour mixture. We are going to make a Parmesan cream sauce to go with it. I just added another half a cup to it. And then we just have to wait 15 minutes. Probably about 12 minutes now, since we already put it in the chicken in the marinade. And then what we're going to do whenever the chicken gets done marinating, we're going to dry the chicken the best we can with a paper towel. And then we're going to press the chicken into the flour mixture. Okay, so now we're going to show you how to make Parmesan cream sauce to go on our Parmesan crusted chicken that we're going to bake. So basically what you need is you need 1 cup of regular butter softened at room temperature. You need a couple tablespoons of garlic, Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to use about a cup of Parmesan cheese, a cup of the heavy cream, and I'm going to use about half a cup of this creamy ranch dip for the sauce. So first thing I'm going to do is let the butter melt in this saucepan, and I'm going to put it on low so it don't scorch. That. So you need 2 cups, which half a stick is one stick is half a cup, and so you need 2 sticks for 1 cup, and we're doing 2 cups. So 2 cups of regular butter. This is actually sweet cream butter. We're gonna let the butter melt, and then we're gonna add our minced garlic. And you can put it on medium if you want, just to get the butter to melt down if your butter's too hard. As soon as that melts, we'll add our minced garlic. And we're only going to saute the minced garlic, for about 30 seconds to 1 minute. That's all it takes. You don't want to get it browned or anything like that. Then we'll whisk in our heavy cream, salt, and black pepper. And it only takes a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, to make this sauce. On our upcoming shows, we're going to have chocolate cake, also homemade deviled egg macaroni salad. So be sure to watch those episodes. Also, the VA is going to have a healthy cooking class. I believe it's July 31st. It's at the VA hospital in Muskogee, but it's a virtual online training. If you can't come to the hospital, you can do it online. If you go to va.gov and check it out, it's going to be healthy cooking, because they have a MOVE program, which the MOVE program is where dietitians help you make healthier choices and give you lists of healthy snacks to eat. And then they call you on the phone. If you don't want to drive to Muskogee, they'll call you on the phone. Probably like every 3 weeks if you want. You could be late more if you want. However, whatever works for you. But if you're interested in healthy cooking, we're going to try to use some of those recipes here at our cooking channel. I've lost 16 pounds so far between the MOVE program, and then also I'm on Zepbound, which is prescribed for people with sleep apnea to help them lose weight. And usually your insurance will pay for it, other than $42 a month. So it's just like Mounjaro, but you get a shot every week in the stomach area, and it does curb your appetite. See if our butter's melted. Okay, our butter has melted. So now we're going to add in our minced garlic. About a tablespoon of minced garlic. Too much. And you just want to cook it for about a minute on the minced garlic. You don't want it to cook it till it's brown, just for about a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. And I've got it on medium-high heat. And then we're going to add in our 1 cup of heavy cream, our salt and pepper, our sour cream ranch dip, and our Parmesan cheese. And that's how you make Parmesan sauce for your Parmesan crusted chicken. Okay, so I'm going to add in my heavy cream. About a teaspoon of salt and pepper. I say a teaspoon because when you add cheese, like we're adding Parmesan cheese grated, it's going to add more sodium. So you don't need a whole lot of salt. Get that open. And now you can turn it down to low and let it simmer. Alright, we're going to add, this is actually a 5-ounce container, but we're going to add it half of the container with Parmesan cheese. And then I'm going to add the ranch dip and taste it and see if I want to add any more cheese or not. And we're going to add about half a container of that. And this is Daisy sour cream ranch dip. It's really good dip, but I also use it in casseroles, sauces, all kinds of different things. I've got my temperature on low, and it's going to thicken after a few minutes, so it doesn't take that long to make it, just a couple minutes. We're going to taste it and see if I need to add the rest of that Parmesan cheese. Alright, we're going to taste it and see if that's going to work, or do we need to add more Parmesan? Whatever your preference is, it's fine. Okay. It tastes good to me. I am going to add the rest of the Parmesan because I did put in more garlic than I wanted to. So I'm going to add the rest of the Parmesan cheese. Long lid. If you know any pets that want to be in our pet contest at the car show August 30th in Henrietta, first prize is $100, second prize is $50, and third prize is $25. So they can dress as whatever they want. Dress your dog as whatever you want. You do have to have them on a leash because that's the city regulation to have them on a leash. And if you want to sign up for that, you can text me your name and phone number to 479-414-0952. And we'll, if you don't want to text me your name and number, if you just want to show up August 30th at the briefcase, we'll be outside of the briefcase signing up pets for the costume contest. They also have a mustache and beard competition and a pinup competition, as well as a car show. I think last year they had over 75 antique cars there on Main Street. A bunch of cars. And if you do want to sign your pet up, text me their name and the breed they are, and then a description of your pet. Like, do they like wrestling? Do they like stealing socks? Whatever your pet does. Okay, our cheese sauce is simmering. And I'm going to turn it off because we still got to make our chicken. So now we're going to season our chicken and put it in the oven. You got to be sure to dry off the chicken. Make sure it's dry whenever you go to put it in your flour. Get my glove on. This one right here is the chipotle chicken, and the other one's the wine herb chicken. And then we have two pieces that we didn't marinate at all because we want to see what the difference was. Okay. Shake off the excess marinade. And tap it with a paper towel to get off the excess liquid. And then you're going to press it firmly into the flour mixture. The flour and cheese mixture that we made earlier. Make sure it's coated completely. And then we're going to put it on our baking pan. And I've got the oven preheated at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And it shouldn't take about 15 minutes. I'm going to test it with our meat thermometer, and it should read at least 165. You don't want to get it way more than 165 or it'll dry it out. So, okay, there's one. Also, Heather has a training program that she helps teach pets how to mind and obey, follow rules and all kinds of stuff. So her name's Heather, and she's in Henrietta, and she does charge, I think it's $150 for 6 training sessions to try to teach your dog whatever you're struggling with, like to mind or whatever. I have 10 dogs, and I have 3 Chorkies, a couple Labs, a couple strays that just showed up because we live in the country. And my favorite dog of all time is the Yorkie, because they communicate with you. So if they're outside and they want in, they know to bark, or they have a sound that they make. So that's why I love my Yorkies, because they're smart. I think they communicate where the other dogs really don't communicate very well. If you ever have a chance to get a Yorkie, that's the one I would get. And I do have a baby toy Yorkie that's about 5 months old, and she's ate probably 6 chunks out of my new furniture, but that's what puppies do. You can give her 10 toys and she'll want to eat your socks and the furniture. So that's how it goes. Get more paper towel, because you do want to make sure you got the excess liquid off of your meat so that the seasoning on the crust will stick. And basically it's all-purpose flour with some Parmesan cheese, garlic powder, onion powder, okay, so the dark gray pan is going to be the wine and herb chicken. And then shake it off. Got a couple more of those. We just started a new program at the VFW in Henrietta. It's Vets for Pets. So that's why we are sponsoring the pet costume contest. And so is Love Ford, and also Fur Dogs, which is a grooming company there on Main Street in Henrietta. If you're interested in joining the VFW, we meet the first Tuesday of the month. We are meeting tomorrow night, which is the second Tuesday of the month, but normally we meet the first Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock at the VFW, which is located behind Love's gas station in Henrietta. It's 404 Jack Gibson Drive. And one of the eligibility requirements to join is to be a combat veteran, which means you just have to have served in a combat zone. Either Iraq, Afghanistan, even Korea is considered a combat zone during certain periods that you can join the VFW. And then if you want to join the auxiliary, the requirement for the VFW auxiliary is that you are related to a combat vet. So it could be a spouse, it could be a kid, it could be the parents of a veteran or soldier, and they're the ones that's eligible to join the VFW auxiliary. And you just have had to serve in a combat zone to join the VFW. So, okay, that's all the Chipotle chicken. Now we're going to do our other one, which is the herb and wine marinade. And we're going to dip it in our seasoning mix. Make sure it's dried off. Let me grab these paper towels. Just want to make sure you lightly coat both sides of the chicken. And I think I used an extra half a cup versus what the recipe said. And what I'm going to do is when the chicken gets 165 degrees, then I'm going to add the rest of my Parmesan cheese on top. But you don't have to, because we got the Parmesan cream sauce that's going to give it sauce. So you don't necessarily have to do that if you don't want to. Now let me check the sauce real fast. Make sure. Yep. And it's going to thicken up a little bit. But it's the quickest garlic herb sauce I've ever made. It's super easy. 5 minutes. In our upcoming shows, I may teach you how to make homemade dressing, ranch dressing. And then also I'm going to be teaching you how to make different sauces to go with your meat. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Vets for Pets, just give me a call at 479-414-0952. And if you know any veterans that need help with their VA benefits, I do their VA paperwork for free. It doesn't cost them anything at all. So even if they've already been to the VA and they've been denied, have them come and see me, because I've been doing this for 6 years and I want to help them get their benefits. So, and I live right here in Henrietta. I do have people come to call me from all over the state, but I help whoever calls me. So, but my office is right here in Henrietta behind Love's gas station. And we do a Guardians of Service program at least once a month, which is basically educating veterans on their benefits and then also educating them on the resource organizations that are available to them. I think our next one is coming up is Heroes of Hope, and they also help veterans. Okay, that's that one. Then we'll do our last two, but we're not going to marinate them. We're going to see what the difference is without the marinade. And we're just going to dry them a little bit and then put them in that pan over there, that garlic herb marinade one. Yep, so I had I had about 10 pieces of chicken, and this recipe marinated about 10 pieces of chicken. So that's a good quantity of the seasoning and the marinade. Shake off the excess and put it in the pan. one more to do. Also, if you would like to sponsor my cooking channel, just let the Henrietta Peeper know, or you can call me again at my number. If you would like to sponsor our cooking show that comes out every Sunday at 2 o'clock, and I think they're going to be showing additional shows on Wednesdays. Alright, and see, I still have plenty of flour and Parmesan cheese left over. So now we're going to put it in the oven for about 15 minutes. Every oven's different, so we're going to put it in there and then we're going to check it to see if it's 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the temperature that chicken has to be in order to be done. But we don't want it to go too much over that because then it'll dry it out. Alright, so let's put in our Parmesan chicken chipotle that was marinated in chipotle sauce. Putting in our chicken with chipotle marinade. And then we have 4 pieces of garlic and herb marinade with 2 plain pieces of chicken. And we're going to put it in there 15 minutes to start with and see if it gets to 165 degrees. Our sauce is still liquidy. Now I'm going to try it again since I added more cheese to see if that helps garlic that I put in it. Ton of garlic. Kind of stringy because it's got Parmesan in it. Yep, that helped. So, as soon as the chicken gets done, we're going to put the Parmesan cream sauce on top and then sprinkle a little bit of chives on top of that. And that's all it is. All there is to making Parmesan crusted chicken. We'll wait about 15 minutes and check it and make sure it's 165 degrees. Now we're going to check our Parmesan crusted chicken. We have the chipotle marinated chicken. We're going to try. We're going to pull it out and make sure it's 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's how you know that chicken's done. So the recipe says 15 minutes. This one actually took about 25 minutes, depending on the thickness of your chicken breast. So it takes anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes. It's right at 165, and that's the biggest piece. We'll check another one to make sure. Yeah. As long as they're at least 165, you don't want to do too much more than 165 because that means it's overcooked. And you want it as tender as possible. Yep. Alright, this one's done. Thanks for watching.